Dear reader, allow me to introduce you to my book. Though it might at first appear like many books you've come across, it is far from ordinary. You may, therefore, have some misunderstandings about its nature. The story that awaits you has not been fully told. In fact, its conclusion is not yet known, even to myself. It is in that way that my book is special. It is in that way that you are special. Without you, there is no story. Chapter 1. Normal isn't what it used to be. This is a story about change. Nestled in a shallow valley is the town of Beacon Pines. Far from the town square, across the river, past the neglected welcome sign, a young boy walks alone at dawn. His name is Luka Van Horn, and like you, dear reader, he's here for a reason. Was Luka's closest friend. He possessed many fine qualities, but subtlety was not one of them. Rollo finally noticed the tears welling in his friend's eyes and the flowers on the grave. Wonderful! I had a good feeling about you from the moment you opened my book. That charm is a very special thing. Very special indeed. Keep hold of it for now. Its purpose will reveal itself soon enough. Rollo looked to the side suspiciously. Dear reader, forgive me for this interlude. Remember that charm you found in the dandelion patch? There are more of those special charms to discover throughout Beacon Pines. They've been known to reveal themselves to those who are willing. Some of them can be found in this very house. Since Gran had moved in, the house was more peaceful, more orderly. and more covered in flowery fabric. One of his father's old stethoscopes. Luka had spent countless hours listening to anything and everything with it. Not for years, though. Gran had already lit the fire. She kept a warm house, as if by grandmotherly obligation. Just some dusty knickknacks. Luka paused at his parents' bedroom door. He just wasn't ready to go in yet. Gran had commandeered the upstairs closet when she moved in. "Some things need shelter from a young boy's mischief," she said. Luka tossed on his favorite old sweater. Even though it was the first day of summer, a chill still hung in the air. Gran's moving in meant that most of Luka's things had been crammed in the corner. Luka was somewhat annoyed by the situation. Gran's bed was undisturbed. Luka didn't mind that she had a habit of falling asleep in front of the fireplace. It meant that he could read late into the night. The only piece of furniture Gran had brought when she moved in was an old hutch. A pair of dull scissors, a broken can opener, a mostly empty bottle of glue, and some loose string. Quite exciting. I am now certain that you are the one I've been waiting for all these years. You'll recall I was a bit coy regarding the use of charms earlier. Excuse me, I tend to have a flair for the dramatic. You are about to encounter your first turning point. There are certain times in this tale when everything hinges on a single word. You can use the various charms you've collected to alter events, and thus completely rewrite the fate of Beacon Pines. This is no small thing. So step forth, dear reader, and grasp hold of destiny itself. A beginner's guide to gardening laid open on the bench. The less Gran knew, the better for everyone involved. We were just gonna go chill for the day. The best lies are built on truth. Easy. Impressive. You've managed to navigate your first turning point without too much of a mess. That is the power of charms. A simple word can change the course of history. I think it's time to introduce you to the Chronicle. chronicle is a record of the decisions you've made. You can see the turning point which has been revealed. At any time, you can use the chronicle to go back and invoke different charms, creating new branches. This conversation with Gran seems innocent enough, the perfect opportunity to experiment with rewriting things. We were just gonna go hide for the day. Traditionally, when one is trying to hide something, they avoid literally using the word hide. All's well that ends well. Chapter 2. Welcome to Beacon Pines. For many years, this valley had been a small mining outpost. It wasn't until Sharper Valentine built his fertilizer company that Beacon Pines was established. Over the next 30 years, the town had grown and prospered, until the foul harvest and his sudden death. In the 3 years since, everyone was simply trying to get by. For a town that saw few visitors, the welcome was perhaps more grand than necessary. After Luka's father had passed, Rollo became obsessed with them building their own Hank atomic star scraper. It was some time before Luka realized it was Rollo's way of keeping him occupied. Mr. Sinclair continued snoring and lifted one eyelid just enough to see who it was, a tactic he often used to avoid undesirable conversation. They pulled a pen from the pocket of their sweater vest and began to frantically jot something down on a clipboard. Alex muttered, scribbling more notes. Luka could just make out their words over the pen's scratching. Alex stopped scribbling and glanced up from the clipboard. Wilder ran the local paper of record, the Beacon. Miss Hatch could often be found near the fountain, too absorbed in a book to be distracted. Oh, right. Rendezvous with Roxy. This is an important turning point. The first time where your charms will change the course of fate. And currently, we only have one suitable charm at our disposal. Have no fear, we can always return later using the Chronicle once we find more charms. Well, now I'm just rambling. Where were we? Rollo froze as Roxy took a step toward him, cracking her knuckles. Luka knew he had one chance to save his friend from being dragged home. In the past, he found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little chill. A bit much, if you ask me. Ms. Novak's bookstore was often closed until after lunch. Rummaging through the dusty piles of books was one of Luka's favorite ways to kill time. A promise Gran regretted the second it was made. The phone booth was brand new, part of the town's Beacon Pines Reborn initiative. It didn't see much use. The path led into a small hollow at the edge of Weepwood. The fence thrummed with a gentle electric buzz. Luka often asked himself what Rollo would do, so that he could rule out that option. As sparks flew from the fence, the light atop that section shut off. 2 bulbs remained. One more to go. The fence's buzzing gave way to silence. Every kid in town knew the old Valentine fertilizer building. Long abandoned, the warehouse once served as the industrial heart of Beacon Pines. Now, it stood only as a reminder of things left behind. The dormant building showed strange signs of life. There was only one way to find out. The water looked almost diseased. It flowed slowly into the woods. Luka thought he heard faint sounds coming from the other side of the door. He pressed his ear against the cold metal to hear better. The sound of footsteps grew louder. The heavy steel door knocked Luka to the ground. Disoriented, he looked up to see an imposing figure silhouetted in a green glow. It lunged toward him. He tried to scramble away, but felt a gloved hand latch onto his ankle. Luka watched his fingernails leave trails in the dirt as the hand slowly dragged him back through the door, into the lab, into the green light. This is a story about change. It was far from the sort of change Luka imagined for himself. But change is, after all, a dangerous animal. The end? It's okay. This is no one's fault. I still believe in you. There is a way through this story. We just have to find it. He found the best way to deal with an enraged Roxy was to be a little shit. Solomon Valentine, current ward of and future successor to the Valentine fortune, huffed as he brushed off his pants. Solomon trifled a gesture toward the approaching heiress Valentine. As the glowing windows of the old warehouse came into view, Rollo began to bounce excitedly. The boy sat petrified under the weight of the bag. Luka sat in the dark, tracking the sound of Rollo's footsteps as he ran. 1, 2, 3. He pressed his ear to the dumpster wall, straining to hear Rollo's footsteps as they faded away. 15, 16, 17. He tried not to think about the contents of the dumpster as he counted. 35, 36, 37. The thick stench made it hard to breathe. Screw it, that's long enough. Luka carefully lifted the lid and peered out. Nothing. No sign of Rollo. No sign of the man in the yellow suit. Time to haul ass. Luka clambered from the dumpster, stumbling to his knees. He was up like a shot and running, sprinting toward home as fast as he could. Beacon Pines flew by, blurred by the tears that welled up in his eyes. He wouldn't remember getting home at all that night. Throwing his front door open, storming up the stairs to his room and surrendering to sleep almost as abruptly as he hit his pillow. Chapter 3. Finding a Friend. The next morning, it was quieter than usual at the breakfast table. Only the sound of silverware and chewing interrupted the awkward silence. Gran's brow furrowed. She let out a long sigh. Her voice was quiet and even. Luka stood in silent shock. Where could she even be going? An eerie electronic sound echoed from Luka's bedroom. A pit formed in Luka's stomach. Luka's mouth felt dry. Luka could feel his heart beating in his throat. The road leading to Beacon Pines was long and uninspiring, a sort of natural barrier for the impatient. Beck's family moved often, giving her little time to establish any real connections. Luka shifted his feet uncomfortably. Luka felt a chill as he approached Beck. Her eyes were locked on the strange green liquid. The nearby grass was coated in a fine layer of frost. Luka watched as Beck dipped a broken tree branch into the goo. Beck's eyes widened as flowers grew from the dead wood. First small buds, which quickly bloomed into vibrant petals. As quickly as they had grown, the flowers began to shrivel and turn gray. Beck dropped the stick with a grunt of disgust. Iggy took a step towards Luka, his sneer lit by the glowing puddle. Beck could see tears welling in Luka's eyes, his fists clenched. Some things about Beacon Pines were very different from the city, but a bully from a hayseed town is really no different from a city bully. Beck took a deep breath and thought. Well, time to bust out the strange. Beck stared in silence, the only sign of life being the twitch of an eye. At the sight of Iggy taunting Beck, something in Luka snapped. Iggy's smirk shifted to a look of shock as Luka launched himself into his stomach. Iggy's clothes were drenched in the glowing ooze. Iggy's voice began to slur as he struggled to get up. I'm afraid that's the end of this part of the demo, but that doesn't mean there isn't more to discover. Remember, each new charm you found has special power. Just look to the Chronicle. And don't forget to wishlist and follow to find more cool stuff. Most importantly, if you enjoyed the demo, please tell your friends. Well, time to bust out the tickles. Beck lunged forward and began to tickle under Tish's arms. Tears began to form in Tish's eyes as she gasped for breath between gales of laughter. Beck redoubled her efforts until Tish finally had had enough. eyes darted around, a realization dawning on his face that he was now outnumbered. Iggy kicked at the puddle to ward Beck before making his escape. Beck shook the ooze out of her hair as best as she could. I'm afraid that's the end of this part of the demo, but that doesn't mean there isn't more to discover. Remember, each new charm you've found has special power. Just look to the Chronicle. And don't forget to wishlist and follow to find more cool stuff. Most importantly, if you enjoyed the demo, please tell your friends. This is a story about struggle. Luka could hear a machine humming somewhere nearby. He felt around wildly, searching for something, anything that could help. His hands found a hard object, maybe a tile? He yanked it free, lifting the cold stone. Let me go! Luka swung the tile as hard as he could at the shape that still held fast to his leg. He heard the crack of glass as the stone hit the assailant's mask. With a muffled yelp, the hand let go. Luka was free and scrambled to the door. He never looked back once on the long run home. Chapter 3. Everything's fine. The next morning, it was quieter than usual at the breakfast table. Only the sound of silverware and chewing interrupted the awkward silence. I'm afraid that's the end of this part of the demo. But hey, you found a way to keep everyone safe and sound. For now. I'll need your help again down the road. So don't forget to wishlist and follow to find more cool stuff. Most importantly, if you enjoyed the demo, please tell your friends.